Who knew you could buy yourself a 5.6 million reindeer these days? Welcome back to your English Aussie. Today I'm going to take you through a Game Week 2 free hit team and a Game Week 2 wildcard team if you are feeling the need to play those chips this early. So strap on your boots and let's jump straight into the video. So no messing about. Here is my Game Week 2 free hit team. First up is David Raya in goal for Arsenal. Arsenal have a home game against Leeds, who did get the 1-0 win against Everton with the help of a penalty. However, I do expect Arsenal with that superior defence to be able to keep a clean sheet this game week. I've also gone for Gabriel as well, doubling up on that Arsenal defence, when I think Gabriel also does have that attacking threat off corners to potentially get yourself an attacking return. I've stuck with Murillo at Nottingham Forest. I think Crystal Palace is still a nice fixture for Forest. They did start really well. Murillo, I am still set on the fact that he can also pick up some defensive contribution points. If you do prefer the other way around in this fixture and you think Palace are more likely to keep a clean sheet, I would also consider Maxime Lacroix or potentially Daniel Munoz of Crystal Palace. However, I have gone for Murillo at that 5.5 mil price point. Lastly, in that defence is Maxime de Kuyper at 4.5 million. I think although I'm not very big on the Brighton defence, Everton have not looked good in that first game offensively, and I think that is a really nice fixture for Brighton, who offensively have looked really good. De Kuyper did get up that left-hand side a little bit more than I expected and was a bit more involved in the games. And I do think that against some of these lesser teams, potentially he can put in some attacking returns. On the bench, in case of any rotations or injuries or late team news, is Maxime Stev of Burnley against Sunderland and Reynildo also there. That could also be Alderette of Sunderland. He's someone that I would potentially look at that might have the chance to pick up DEFCON for Sunderland in these fixtures. Into the midfield, and now definitely some big items to talk about here. First up on this list is Matheus Cunha. Now, I watched that Man United-Arsenal game back a couple of times in the end, and I just thought Cunha was so fantastic in that game. His ball carrying was exceptional, his progressive carries, his weight of pass, the areas that he was picking up the ball in and occupying were absolutely superb. And whether or not Sesko comes back into that team, I only think makes that Man United attack stronger. I think Cunha is somebody that I really like going forwards, and as you'll see in my wildcard team, he would also be in there. I think he's a really fantastic pick going forwards, and at 8 mil is somebody that I really like, potentially ahead of even a Bruno Fernandes. Next up is Semenyo, mostly due to the fixture here in Game Week 2. I do naturally have spoken about how I think Semenyo is a very poor finisher. He definitely proved me wrong in that first game week against Liverpool. Hopefully that's something he's gone away and worked on in the off-season, and he's come back much stronger this season. Wolves at home is a fantastic fixture for Bournemouth. As Vitor Pereira has said, he doesn't plan to sit back against any teams. He wants to win games. He wants to pick up points. And I do think that is going to lead to Wolves conceding plenty of goals this season, and definitely a defence for me to target so far. In the middle, I do have Bukayo Saka at home against Leeds. Although we have had some news from the sort of Norwegian side of, the Swedish side of the world that Victor Gyökeres is on penalties for Arsenal, I still think Saka's a fantastic pick. I know Arsenal looked a little bit off the boil against Man United, and if you do feel that way, potentially you could move that captaincy pick from a Saka to a Haaland or to a Cunha in this team. But for me, I'm going to put it on Saka for now and hope that Arsenal can pick up the form that we have seen from them in the past. As we saw in pre-season, everything still goes down that right-hand side. Saka is still such a key cog in that Arsenal machine and can pick up assists and goals for the team. Florian Wirtz, I've left in my team. I think Newcastle, the way that they pack that midfield in the centre, Florian Wirtz is going to be super important for Liverpool to pick up the ball in between the lines, to try and find those key passes, and hopefully he will be feeding Ekitike up front. The 5.6 million Reindeer is also in the team. Very cheap price for someone that can pull your sleigh all night for you. Fantastic debut for Manchester City. A goal and assist and could have got more. Really looking like a fantastic price point. Box-to-box midfielder, carried the ball fantastically well. His weight of pass was exceptional, and the way he got up the field was absolutely brilliant to support Haaland. I do think tactically in that Man City setup that he's not always going to have that role in the team, depending on who the fullbacks are, depending on the situation and the formation that Pep chooses to use. He may be used slightly differently. However, for the next few fixtures and before the Champions League starts, and Rodri comes back potentially after the international break, I think Reindeer or Reinders is a fantastic pick in that midfield at such a cheap price point. Up top, I have gone for Hugo Ekitike. I did have him in my team in game week 1. I did say that I thought he looked fantastic in the Community Shield. He again looked brilliant in the debut in the Premier League for Liverpool against Bournemouth. He was coming short, getting the ball, spinning off defenders, coming back short again. He was involved in all the link-up play, and he was powering forwards to try and get in the box on the end of headers. On the end of chances. He looked exceptional. The only thing for me is he's maybe not quite up to full match fitness for Premier League fitness. He did come off at 70 minutes, but I think still well worth the price at 8.5 million. Definitely looked the best of all the new strikers that had come in so far this season. Up front with him, his partner is Erling Haaland. 4 free hit in game week 2. I think Haaland could be a fantastic pick. Spurs did concede some chances to Burnley despite keeping the clean sheet. And I thought Man City looked exceptional. Haaland's early season form tends to be fantastic. And just someone that I could see picking up big points and worth having on that free hit for game week 2. Mark Gui on the bench just as a 4.5 mil fodder. I don't expect him to come on for Sunderland, given the goal scoring in their attacking line in game week 1. And Dubravka as the 4.0 million playing goalkeeper to make up that bench. That's what I'm going for my free hit 2 team. If you guys would have anybody else in your team for free hit 2, or you think I've missed anyone, let me know down below in the comments who you would have in your team and who you would prefer. And please, if you are watching this, don't forget, subscribe down below to my channel, like this video. It does really help a small content creator like myself continue to produce these sort of videos for you guys. Now, on to my wildcard team. Let me tell you why these are the players that I would have on a wildcard. I've got Verbruggen in goal. I think he's a really nice pick at that 4.5 million price point. Hopefully Brighton stop conceding ridiculous goals as they did last season and again this year with that late penalty. Dubravka is my backup 4.0 million, the only 4.0 million playing goalkeeper currently in FPL for Burnley. At the back, I really like Crystal Palace's fixtures going forwards. Over the next 4, they have Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa, Sunderland and West Ham. 3 of 4 really nice fixtures. And with Munoz able to pick up those attacking returns as well by playing so high up that right wing, and Lacroix having the ability to pick up the DEFCON points. He did pick up those 2 additional points for DEFCON in game week 1. With the addition of those potential clean sheets with the really nice fixtures, I think Crystal Palace defenders could be a really nice pick to go into over the upcoming game weeks. I have stuck with Murillo at centre-back. I do think he is the best of the sort of DEFCON monsters out of him and Tarkowski. Given that I think Nottingham Forest have slightly better defensive fixtures, I have gone for Murillo over Tarkowski, despite him not picking up DEFCON in that first game of the season. I do think that if you were to hold on to your wild card a little bit longer, there might be some other picks that materialise for that spot in the team. Perhaps one of the other Nottingham Forest defenders becomes a better option, or perhaps you maybe want to move to a Tarkowski if Everton defence if Everton do start performing. On the bench, I do have Josh Achiampong for Chelsea at 4.0 million. With the injury to Colwill and a little knock to Tosin, he has started as the other centre-back for Chelsea. And I think at that 4.0 million price point might just be worth a little punt for a few weeks as he gets himself into that team. Alongside him, I've gone for Alderette at Sunderland. Another 4.0 mil punt. He might be coming in at centre-back for Sunderland. Sunderland have some fantastic fixtures over those 7 to 8 game weeks. And he could also be picking up those DEFCON points as a centre-back if he continues to play there for Sunderland. If you want to go for a little bit of safer picks at 4.0 million, you could look for a Stev at Burnley, you could look for Bijol at Leeds, or you could look for a Reynildo at Sunderland for that fixture run. This is just what I've gone for on my wildcard team, but put me a link in the comments below if there is anybody else that you think should be in there in that defensive line. That is a big miss here in that team. And just a quick reminder, if you have been enjoying this content, please remember to smash that like button, subscribe down below in the channel. It does make a huge difference to such a small channel like mine. Help content create for yourselves. Into the midfield, and I do have Morgan Rogers of Aston Villa. I really wanted to have someone for this nice Aston Villa fixture run. I think Rogers is a 90-minute man, well trusted under Emre. Fantastic progressive carries the ball really well, gets into some nice positions. I do not like Tielemans as a pick at all, regardless of what some of the models are saying. And regardless of what some of the other creators are saying, unless he's picking up a bunch of penalties and you are certain that he's going to be taking those penalties for Aston Villa, I think Rodgers is just a nicer pick at 7 million. And the ability to pivot to a 6.5 mil, such as a Kudus, just makes it a little bit better at that price point. Next up, Matheus Cunha. As I spoke about in the free hit draft, I just think he could be an amazing pick this season. He'd be someone I want to jump on just before he starts going well. I thought he was incredible with the ball, carried it so well, weighted his passes so well, got those shots off on goal, and really looked like someone that was going to cause problems for opposition teams. I thought Manchester United looked very good in game week 1 against Arsenal, despite the 1-0 loss. And if they do get on a roll this season, I am sure Cunha is going to have something to do with that. Regardless of whether Sesko comes into the team, he's still going to be playing in there, in that front three. And I think that's only going to make Manchester United better if Sesko comes in and starts firing offensively. In the middle, I've gone for Mo Salah. I just think he's such an inevitable pick. Although I do agree, watching that Liverpool game, I did think that the ball was shared around a little bit more. Not everything went down that right wing. They didn't rely so heavily on Salah. Gakpo was more involved. Wirtz was more involved. Ekitike was heavily involved. However, Salah's quality and his ability is still brilliant, and I still want him in my FPL team. He just has that ability to be a fantastic captaincy option and to go absolutely nuclear at any point. Captaincy is so big in FPL, and think of the times that you went against him last season and how many times you got that captaincy choice right. Salah just gives you that consistency of a captain who tends to return in multiple games, and for me, he's someone that I wouldn't want out of my team for a long period of time. So if you are on a very early wild card, I would suggest you bring Mo Salah into your team. Next up is that 5.6 million Reindeer, an absolutely fantastic price for someone who can pull your sleigh all night and deliver presents all around the globe in under 24 hours. He covers the ground just as fast as they cover the sky. Reinders of Manchester City, fantastic debut, goal and assist, covered so much ground, box-to-box midfielder, supported Haaland, got back and defended, really had a fantastic debut, and at 5.6 mil, I think he's just worth the price there. When we move forwards, as Rodri comes back for Manchester City, as there is Champions League, I'm sure there'll be rotations in that Manchester City midfield. But with a debut performance like that for Reinders, for the Reindeer, I would definitely look to have him in your side in that Man City attack for these first few game weeks. Next up is Elliot Anderson, very close to DEFCON points. Looked actually super attacking in that Nottingham Forest game. Got a couple of shots off. Played a fantastic pass for the assist to Chris Wood. All round looked involved in a lot of their plays and actually looked a brilliant pick on set pieces, not just for those DEFCON points, but it looks like he could be getting a few attacking assist returns, potentially some goals as well. I thought he was a really nice pick and looked excellent for Nottingham Forest in that game. Nottingham Forest looks a completely different team to what their pre-season would have alluded to with the lack of goals. They really looked like they were getting the ball forwards fast, they were getting players into the box, and they did look like a team that could score goals throughout the season. And I thought Elliot Anderson would be a fantastic pick. Up top, I do have Hugo Ekitike. I've talked plenty about him. I think he's a fantastic option for Liverpool. As I mentioned, comes short, goes in behind, can head the ball. Liverpool had him involved in so much action against Bournemouth. I think a fantastic pick. They're not going to sign Isak until at least after this Newcastle game. Personally, I can see Liverpool not signing Isak whatsoever, but let's wait and see on that one. I still think Hugo Ekitike is going to be a great pick up until the international break. Up top next to him is Erling Haaland, the main man for Manchester City. He starts the season so well, so frequently, and he looks in fine form. Manchester City look in fine form. They have a bit of their swagger back, and Erling Haaland is the guy that you're going to want if Manchester City are firing on all cylinders. Really nice pick. 14 mil, a bit of a big price point, but for me, he's someone that I'd want to have if you are on a wild card. I've got Mark Gui just as that 4.5 million bench fodder to round out the team. That's going to be all from me. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way through to the end. Please remember to subscribe down below to the channel and like if you have enjoyed the video. Leave a comment with anybody that you'd rather have in your team or anything that you think I've missed. And I hope you guys all have a fantastic game week. This has been your English Aussie, and I will catch you later, guys.